Hey everybody, this is Taylor here, coming at you live from the Fulton Center. So I just wanted to take a few minutes and talk about three community building tools that I think are important for online learning communities. In no particular order, I'll start to go through these. First one is Twitter, second one is Google Docs, and the third one would be Skype. Uh, Importantly, Twitter I think is very applicable, especially in the setting, in undergraduate setting or even a graduate setting, because a lot of us have experience with it. It's very socially relevant. It connects a lot to the trends in the social sphere today, and it's very easy to use, especially for people coming into this realm of education. A lot of them are very familiar with it, so that helps a lot with collaboration. I think the ease of sharing different topics that each member, maybe if it's in a group setting, feels is important, like we did in class. Really, we picked certain topics or certain sites or profiles that we felt were beneficial to whatever topic it is we were discussing. In terms of athletic training, like I do, it would be very easy to say, hey, go find this athletic trainer or this athletic training website. Tell me about them. Do a little research, share, promote. It's a good way to learn about the industry and learn about what it is you're actually studying from a social media perspective, and that's pretty applicable to these students. Secondly, I think Google Docs is great for collaboration. We got to use it a lot in this class in EDLT 560, and I think it was a great way for everybody to kind of share their thoughts in one space. It's very easy and foster kind of a community setting, whereas we're not all sharing documents. We're just using one, and we can see what everybody's thinking kind of in real time. It's a very good collaborative tool, and it kind of allows us to all be in sync when we're talking about different things. Um, like I said, it allows for ease of information sharing instead of having to go back and forth, emails, things of that nature. And in collaboration, like we did a lot of in this course, especially like the group learning, we used Google Docs pretty frequently to share that back and forth. Thirdly, I think Skype is very important. And once again, I kind of bring up social relevance and its ties to collaboration and the population that we work with. It depends on what course you're instructing. For me personally, if I were to be instructing a course, it'd either be a high school course or collegiate level course. So I feel like the majority of those students that I'd be working with have a pretty good feel with Skype. They probably used it at some point before. It's a great communication tool, and again, it starts to foster online learning and the community sense more so than anything, because of I think of the social interaction. One thing that I noted in my reflections was the more interaction I felt there was from a social component, the more comfortable I felt. The more comfortable I felt sharing my opinions and reflecting back on certain things in the class and even in society in general, really. Usually, if there's not much of a social component to it, I kind of am reserved. And I think that with students being allowed to see one another face to face, hear each other talk, just interact in a normal capacity almost, they start to break those walls down and feel that they can discuss things more openly. And I think that's where a lot of collaboration really takes off, is when we kind of start to worry less about what everybody thinks we're going to say, rather than providing our opinions. So again, I think Skype is a great thing. Another thing that might be utilized in a similar fashion would be Uvu. The nice thing about that is the video conferencing. You can have up to 12 people, I think, and that would be really convenient for large groups, for large collaboration and large efforts like that. Kind of similar to what we did in our group learning activities. But yeah, to kind of sum it up, I personally lean towards things that are socially relevant. One, because it's something that applies to them, something that they're familiar with, that the students are familiar with, and they can kind of just dive right into the course or whatever assignment requires the use of these tools. Secondly, they're comfortable, and when we're comfortable, we tend to work a little better in a community setting, possibly. Now, I'm not saying that we don't need to introduce new topics, because that's absolutely imperative in growth and in interaction and in motivation to improve our knowledge base. But I think by starting with something like these three things that I previously discussed, you kind of ease them into the waters, really. But I think these things really have helped me to gain initiative rather than just getting course topics and saying, here's your assignment. I can use different mediums of interaction to voice my opinions and learn from others. I think the biggest part that I forgot to mention before through Twitter, Skype, or mainly those two, would be the gaining of perspective from other students too. That allows other students to voice their opinions, and you can actually hear where they're coming from. And I think that's a big part of cultural learning and social learning and being a respective learner, really. So pretty much I think that's all I got. So thanks for a great semester.